definitely.
Yeah. So
and what part?
Yeah.
When did that happen in your life, in your career? Was this early?
Okay.
Like your first jobs?
Yeah, well, kind of. I'll go into that.
Was you a
well, yeah.
wrestler?
How did you get into the wrestling scene?
All
That's
right.
a good question.
Right, so let's start this off first and foremost. If anyone else is out there watching this on Instagram and following this, and if you've got a question as well, please feel free, fire that question in there. There's people monitoring there, so they'll like to make sure they get this answered as well. Now, how did I get into the pro wrestling industry? By accident. I was actually minicabin at the night,
Wow.
finishing off minicabin, and my last guy that I took back was a pro wrestler. And
Any particular one we might know?
no, you wouldn't know him, but his name was Mr. Hollywood Shane Stevens. And I took him back home to his place. He actually was spending the night finishing off a wrestling show, was with one of his other friends, picked him up from there, took him back to his home. Along the way, we started talking about pro wrestling, and we started talking about the golden era of WWE,
Oh yeah.
or WWF at that time. So you're talking about Hulk Hogan a bit
That's the
earlier.
only one I know. Hulk Hogan and The Rock.
Okay, and there's
Maybe
also the Macho Man.
Macho Man. I
you know-
remember him with the glasses. He had the
Ooh,
long
yeah!
glasses. Oh, I don't remember that part.
Oh
But-
yeah.
For me, as much as I enjoyed watching the wrestlers in action, for me, my favourite character was the manager. Because the manager for me at that time was Bobby the Brain Heenan. You would always get so close to seeing him get his comeuppance, and then someone would come behind, save him, he would run away, ha 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 ha, that kind of thing. He would be the ultimate bad guy that everyone wanted to get his hands on, and that was kind of me. That's how I felt at the time.
You like the bad guy role?
Yeah, I did, and we got on that because look, good guys you can
Finish last.
no, I wouldn't go down that
come
road.
on.
But no, I'm a good guy. I finished first,
Hey.
But
I don't want to do that every time.
But within my trade union role, I am known as a villain. But for those who are underneath, who they don't see me that way. They see me as a hero, and that's nice to know and have that acknowledged. Even though it's quite tricky to have that, because I always see myself as a bad guy.
Do you like being known as the bad guy?
I get away with so much by being a bad guy because
I mean, the bad guys are more fun,
It's a
aren't they?
character.
So you can take it quite well and just say,
Yeah.
I'm the baddie.
It's a
Woo.
character. It's just part of the character.
Yeah, but even being in the trade union is the bad guy.
because I'm fighting for people's rights against for people's rights.
That doesn't.
That
make
does
you the
sound
bad
like-
guy. That makes you the good guy fighting for other people.
I mean, if I told you the real reason why I got into the trade union movement, it was actually because of things like the mafia movies, like The Sopranos.
Oh,
I
that
thought
would be
I'd
my
get,
family too. I haven't got mafia, but I'm
Well,
Italian.
I thought I'd get bribed, but that didn't happen.
Well,
They
well,
actually
well,
moved
let's
away.
go.
Sorry.
So literally, like, you went from taking a pro wrestler home in a cab.
He told me to come to the pro wrestling school, and I wanted to get back into fitness and health again. And this was one of the great ways to go about it. So I went in there, started doing the training, and because I could speak and sounded, a little bit nice, they thought, you know what, you also look a little bit like a wimp as well. I think we could take you on as a manager. And I met one of my closest friends to this very day. I call him my kid brother, which is Alexander Roth, the Wolf of Broad Street, Moses. So shout out to you and Kieran Corrupt. They both meet together, tag teamed up to become the Hit Set, who were still a very prominent tag team in the UK. Shout out to the 8-7 as well, and Rory Johnson and all these other guys out there. They've all done amazingly well. I done the pro wrestling stuff as a manager, and I thought, you know what? I saw it was like in the ring, and one of the reasons why I took the managing role wasn't just, the psychology side of it, which is that you are the middle guy between the audience and the people in the ring. You can actually tell what's happening. So if a match is dying down, the audience is not into it, you can G them up, you can get them hyped up, you can get them focusing on a key character. But one of the biggest things that I found was I was able to motivate people to get themselves out of their seats, buy a ticket with their hard-earned money, and come to a show to see me get my comeuppance.
You were like the mic man of a group.
Got it. I
Or
hyped
the
it all
hype
up.
man, I should say.
That's it. I was a hype man, and because of that, I got bookings in more wrestling promotions than any other manager at the time. just because pro wrestling managers are looked down upon. And I don't mean to say in a derogatory way. It's because they can't go in and do the same thing that a wrestler will do, which is they take the time, they'll train, they'll develop their body, their skills, all that sort of stuff. In this era of pro wrestling, you don't need a manager. You need a cameraman, ring guy, mic announcer, the wrestlers, a referee,
DJ.
You need that to make a show. You don't need a manager. So for me to then become that manager, going up and down the UK to different promotions, however I got myself in. Legally, I got myself in, and legitimately, I became that manager that was booked almost everywhere. So I went up down the road, travelled, took wrestlers with me, found out, understand, and learn more. Internationally, I was dealing with people like Casey Spinelli. God, there were so many people that I've forgotten. But I've worked with quite a few people who have been out there.
Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. And
how long did you do that for?
I did it for occasionally. Well, I'm still kind of technically in it.
Oh, so you haven't left?
I haven't left it.
Oh, wow.
Because as a manager, you don't retire.
They don't let you leave.
But I chose not to get myself booked. And the reason why I'd done that was, again, the pandemic was one of those reasons. And I then had a young child. It was the wife's idea, which is all good. I went on with the ride. He's going to turn 4 in November. And being a former minicab driver, when I went to minicab the first time round, I didn't get the chance to see my kids growing up during the formative years because you're spending 7 days on the road.
Wow.
So taking that time and being able to take that time to watch him grow, it filled a plug in my life that I didn't have.
So when you were basically part of the wrestling industry at that sort of level, is there sort of an assumption of your fighting skills when people find out about it?
Oh, believe me, there's been guys who've waited for me outside in the parking areas, especially because I insulted their girlfriends.
Oh, so you asked for it, really?
He gets on the mic. So I've personally been to the shows that he's been at.
You've been?
Yeah, so the two guys that he
mentioned,
mentioned, which was Kieran Corrupt and Alexander Roth, Alexander's family for me. So I was there when he first started, and I believe he was his first manager.
Yeah.
So I used to go to the wrestling matches, and I still do once in a blue moon when I've got a chance. So I've actually watched him perform, and he can be insulting.
And annoying.
Oh, right.
Because
we'll have to see a
But
video
that's
of
that's
that.
the role, isn't it? The role is to be that irritating bad guy that just gets on your nerves.
And you got to remember something. The audience is actually, if they're coming out, they're expecting a show. They're expecting an experience. Now, a wrestling match, unfortunately, there's still guys who are out there who do this that keep forgetting that the people who've paid to watch them wrestle. Give them a little bit of time. Show them that you're in that ring. Hey, I'm here as well, guys. Boo, cheer, that kind of thing. Give them that. If you're doing move after move after move after move, occasionally a person will get worn down, especially if you have 3-4 matches which are like that. So having a manager breaking it up and being that slight focal point of aggression and anger, so when the good guy actually wins, it's a story that's being told at the end of the day. Especially if you've got a third person on the outside fighting against the good guy.
But was it difficult to sort of like realize that to turn it down when the show's done? That character is done for the night. Was it tough to sort of like mellow out of that role in the evening?
No.
It's an acting job.
But then did fans afterwards know that as well?
Some did, and some didn't. And the ones that didn't, this is... Because you've got to remember, wrestling is for everyone. It's the theatre which is accessible to the masses. So you will get anyone in there, whether they are, have learning difficulties, whether they are the old grannies that carry penknives and look to stab you. One actually did try to do that.
Oh my goodness.
Or the
Hit you with a walking stick, maybe?
Yeah,
It happens.
I had that. I had people try and trip me up. I've had people hold me. I've been threatened.
And yet you still enjoy this.
I know it's work.
It's a show.
And what about when you first joined? Was you like really nervous to be mean to everybody, or?
When I first done it,
Because you don't seem like an actually mean man.
You don't have to be mean to enjoy wrestling.
I'll tell you what, you've
That's
got
what you
some
mean
good
to enjoy
insults,
being
I
mean.
tell you.
I'm a Scorpio. Don't get on my mean side.
Oh,
God.
that's a war sign.
But were you a wrestling fan before entering it?
Yeah, I was, but not on that level. You know, that others had been on. I was actually falling out of love with wrestling for like 15 years. But, you know, wrestling during that Attitude Era, the WCW versus WWE days.
Yes, all the other WWF, the NWA.
You got
yeah.
Pro Japan Wrestling.
Yeah.
These were amazing times.
Well, I mean, because I was a wrestling fan back younger. Before, when I went to secondary school, I would get to school around 7 a.m. The only way to sort of kill time was that one of my friends would bring me with a laptop and watch old wrestling moves, and like he would show me like old NWA moves, where it was like they would really hurt each other.
Yeah.
Like properly, they would have like barbed wire and like bricks and things. Like people were bleeding. You look at this and go like, this is a lot. And you watch like WWE Rage in the Cage or trying to get the suitcase from the top. It's just like, okay, there's an actual difference. This is a performance now. This is you acting. You know, it doesn't take away from it.
Yeah.
It doesn't add anything else to it. It's just like, you know what's going on.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to say it, sorry, that I'm actually a ring girl at boxing shows. And I'd never been to a boxing show before I'd done it. I didn't actually know what a ring girl was. I kind of got thrown in at the deep end in the day, and then I was like, what am I supposed to be doing?
Just showing the cards.
Yeah, literally. But
and keeping the crowd entertained.
yeah, it's part of the show.
But there was a bit of a difference. Like boxing is like I was going to say legitimate sport. It's one, but that's one was like hurting each other is an actual. You need to do that. In wrestling, you don't need to. If you're good at it, you can avoid hurting each other.
I've done mostly boxing shows, but I just like to say I've also done bare knuckle boxing, and I tell you that is brutal.
Yeah.
Oh, the blood is horrendous.
That's proper boxing.
And then I've also done cage stuff as well.
Yeah.
Well, auto Alex Reed's opponent and stuff like that. Yes.
I mean, back in the day when I was a lot younger and a lot fairer, I was training in those things as well. You know, especially in Stockwell, you had to know something.
Yeah,
Describe the training for us. What was the training like? What did you have to do?
So think of it like this: if you've done judo, then it is very similar to that kind of training. You learn how to break the fall, so you protect your back, protect your neck. You have a lot of strength training. Strength training is pivotal in many areas. But then you've got the subtlety of the training as well, the technical side, because you want to make sure the other guy's not hurt. Or far worse, you want to be protected from guys who do want to hurt you. And there are people out there that do want to deliberately hurt you. Wrestling is supposed to be an activity that's accessible for all. You know, it's supposed to be entertaining. Yes, you will get those guys that will do the hardcore wrestling. They will have the weapons. They will do that kind of stuff, and they love that kind of thing. And you have the audience for that. That doesn't mean that they are deliberately going out there to injure you to the point where you can't work, where you can't support yourself. That's not what that's about. But you do have people who have, unfortunately, where you put it down to emotional stress, mental illness, learning difficulties, whatever you want to put it down to, they will go out there to deliberately hurt you. Or they've got the sick, twisted sense of, this is you paying your dues. That's not paying your dues. That's someone just being a bully.
Bad mind people.
Because I was about to say, like, because you say wrestling is a performance. It is you, like, sort of understanding, like, the moves and what it's going to be. How much camaraderie is there between, like, the wrestlers and you, the managers, are like, you know what this is, you know the performance you're doing. Like, how much do you, like, I know you can't always avoid hurting each other.
No, you can't.
But how much, like, attention is there to make sure that no one gets hurt?
As much as possible. Would be the best way of putting it.
Do you like practice every movement of how to act, or is it just sometimes it's just improvised?
Sometimes they improvise it. It depends upon the skill level of the person that is in that ring. Look, it's like a fight scene in a movie. Yeah. Sometimes they will improvise it and practice as best as they can. Then when they're on camera, bangs, an accident happens. But then you get up and you deal with it. You know. But sometimes what you'll get is, let's just wing it out there. I can't be bothered to practice it. I won't remember everything. And this is what's happened, is that those that have learned a certain way will know how to improvise, will understand how to execute moves properly and safely. Whereas quite a lot of people are taught nowadays, remember. Practice, and then we'll have it down to a T, and then when we're in the ring, things still can go wrong.
Well, then let's bring that up to him. And when was what was the worst time you got hurt in the ring?
I had a guy decide to do a leg drop on me from the top rope twice.
Oh my god!
He just randomly did that.
He said, "Stay there, don't move." Bang.
So when you're the manager, you're not like a referee.
No, you're
No.
not.
But
But you
you're
don't.
actually fighting then. I'm
I
trying
may
to
hold a
figure out
leg, I may
where
hold the
it's-
person back, I may throw something at them, I
Okay,
may
so
throw a
you
knuckle
get
duster
hurt
in there.
in the process.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out whereabouts you are and placing it in my mind. Whereabouts in the ring
he's
he
kind of
is.
around the ring,
Okay,
taunting
yeah,
people, taunting some of the wrestlers.
The crowd,
It's all part of
getting the
it's all
crowd
part of an
hyped,
act.
Maybe.
I
You
mean,
want to keep them interested.
who does write the script in terms of who? Because there's generally a storyline to follow when you're in. Because there's different camps for wrestling. From
It
what I
depends
know.
upon the promotion, because if
Yeah.
the promotion's gone down that way that they don't want to have a episodic show, they want to build up an overarching storyline, then that will have a manager in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they need something to connect with the public. They need that character that the public can relate to.
But then can that be improvised as well? Has someone like gone off script and,
Yeah.
and just added things just like, what the hell? What am I going to do with this now?
Well,
Somebody's
hey.
ego.
I hate to say it, that is exactly what I'd do. I would go in there, find something, and annoy them on that basis. Or I wouldn't take cheap shots, you know. So a lot of times the wrestlers, you know, the managers, wrestlers would go out there and go, shut up. I changed it. I went to shh.
All I can understand why that would be.
Yeah. I would try and get the audience involved and say, you know, for example, I went to Scotland and I said, listen guys, I'm from London. We own all of you.
Oh, that one.
That's going to wind them up.
But we do own all of you. No, I'm
They
joking.
do. But that's technically the truth.
What are you talking about?
If you understood what...
I know, I was about to
Well,
say,
And
I
I'm sorry to
understand.
my Scottish fans, I do say this all the time, subtitles please.
It does help, yeah.
Well, to make sure that we avoid swearing this, but like, what would you say is like your favourites? Like, what's the most favourite insult you did? Because you must have these ones where you were like, oh, I'm proud I said that.
Listen, there's a lot that you can do if you're fat and ugly, but you know, just change something about that by just joining the gym and just changing the fatness about yourself.
I mean, would you like?
So what insults would you say to us?
That was
three?
the insult.
Yeah,
That was the
don't do
insult.
that.
I
I'm
need to
alright.
go to the gym.
It's gone over your head, hasn't it?
That was the
I
insult.
can figure 10 insults on me that you wouldn't argue.
But that was for the women, so you know.
Fair enough.
And but that happened, you know. The boyfriends would be waiting for me outside, looking to stab me up.
Goodness.
There were places like Coventry where it was.
You need security going outside.
Have you
don't
ever
you?
done the mum ones like Roffy does? Because he tends to get quite personal.
Listen, I do. What? Me and him, we would work together on these kind of
See,
insults.
I was gonna
never
ask
heard
about
him
that,
do the
like-
mum insults, but he gets like proper personal,
Yeah, he does.
like really personal.
He does. It's been a while since I've seen Rock in action, but you know, I mean, I see his stuff, but not promos.
But that's what I would ask. Like, would you like go to the wrestlers and like ask, can you give me some material so I can get back? Would you like workshop?
did.
Would you workshop insults?
I did with a bald-headed person. I said bald-headed and Goldilocks, because
Oh, you could say Baldylocks and the free hairs.
there you go.
I'll
that
give
was
you
another
that
one too. You're
I'll
getting
give
it
you
now.
that one. I'll
Look
give you
at
that.
you. This
Oh, it's
insult.
because I've said that to my
I-
friend. I was like, oh, you like
Who
Baldylocks and the free hairs.
decides on the winners? Like, you know, like obviously there's a storyline,
The bookers.
but everybody wants to be like the main guy. Like, you know, Roffy likes to be the main champion.
Yeah.
And he tends to get that lead role where he ends up the champion. And every now and then he'll lose a belt and then come back to claim his title.
Why would they put the belt on someone like Roth? It's because he is that
He's an entertainer. Yeah.
One, he's not only an entertainer, but two, he can bring the crowd in.
Mhm.
Wrestling isn't determined by wins and losses. It's determined by personalities that can bring people out of their comfort zones at home
Out of the scene.
into the arena
Yeah.
or the little halls and sit down there.
But you did say that the bookies have a big influence there as well, like how much, you know, because people bet, obviously.
No, not
No,
bookies,
no,
but bookers.
Oh, bookers. I thought you said bookies, my bad.
Yeah, sorry, bookers, because it's not that kind of a sport. It's
It's
theatre for the
entertainment,
masses.
Yeah.
So
So would you,
Oh,
in
I've
terms-
just got some breaking
Sorry.
news. Sorry. Apparently, Liam Payne has died.
no way.
What?
Cheryl Cole's ex-partner, Liam
The
Payne.
guy from One Direction?
Yeah.
Yeah, has died. He fell from a third-floor balcony, apparently.
Oh god, in Argentina.
I'm so
Ooh.
sorry to
Oh
hear
my
that.
God.
That's so awful.
I think all of us can send our
And he's
condolences.
31, so our
Wow.
condolences are sent
Oh
out to
my
Liam
God.
Payne. Sorry, breaking news, guys.
Wow.
That's sad. Very sad.
My deepest respect to his family.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Wasn't
awful.
expecting that until all the One
Sorry,
Direction
sorry.
fans
No,
out
no,
there.
no,
Sorry
no,
about
no,
that.
that's-
Sorry for
good.
that, One Direction fans, but yeah, it just came. A friend just messaged me. It's breaking news, and yeah, he's passed off a balcony. It's awful.
Yeah, because he was that guy that was actually defending Zayn Malik, on one of the podcasts out there.
Ah.
So
What was
it was
that
on TikTok. I can't remember. It was on TikTok. He was talking about Zayn Malik's history, but he was also one of the guys that apparently when I think Harry Styles, I think this is alleged.
It's one of those things where it was like Zayn Malik at the time when he left got a lot of flack.
Yeah.
Even
when he was in there.
Yeah, but there was also like Zayn Malik left because he said like, "Oh, I want to take some time off for mental health," and then 2 months later came out with a single. So it was like, oh, so you just wanted to leave to make an album. You didn't do anything like that. So it's just like, if you're gonna leave, be honest. Like, don't just come up with like a reason like that.
Yeah, but wherever the actual backstory of One Direction.
Well, that's where it started, and then it just escalated to like doing its own thing, that whole thing. Oh.
Yeah, but like I said, from one of the TikToks that I saw about Liam Payne, he was actually defending him. So you know what? Shout out to Liam Payne. Sorry, committed.
Come back with
so young.
Come back for his kid now.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's all awful as well.
Well, the kid's gonna be well set. I'm pretty sure they had good financial planning behind them.
Yeah, but even then, like, no kid needs to grow up without his dad.
No, I completely understand. Completely. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, sorry.
about
Well,
that.
that's sad news, but
I just want to. So, obviously, I wanted to say as well. You won an award. Would you like to tell us about the award that you won? It was a TUC
Organising Awards 2024. So,
okay.
right, basically within. So again, trade union side again.
Yeah, but so so how did that come about? Was that this year?
This year.
Oh,
yeah, it was actually in September.
congratulations!
Thank you. It was in September.
That's very recent. Is that your first award?
Yeah. Well, within Trade Unionism, no, but for the TUC, this is the Rep of the Year type of award.
Okay.
So this is the highest honour that any rep can get, because that's what we do is actually go out there and organise the workforce. You know, you got other reps who are out there that will focus on learning, they will focus on equalities, they'll focus on something else. You know, or like recruitment. I went out there and focused on making sure the workforce was organised. So that was my role. I won that this year, but I got put forward for that because I won my trade unions individual organising award in 2023. Got that awarded this year in January. So because of that, they put me forward for the TUC, and I won. I wasn't expecting that. I was really proud of that.
Oh, congratulations! That sounds it's really good.
Thanks.
I bet was you shocked when you won?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely shocked because
and you were like, oh my gosh, I won.
You know, I've got to send a shout out to all the people who did put themselves forward, because if you look at the trade union movement, there's 5 million members. From that, you work it down to over 1 million reps across different trade union movements out there, because there's over 1,200 different trade unions, ranging in terms of from 1,000 members all the way to millions. You know, and then you boil that down to the individuals who are then put forward for these awards. So obviously, out of whatever numbers that there are, TUC boiled it down and chose me. So I was really proud of that.
For the awards, is the TUC just one section of the industry? And I presume there will be other awards in different industry areas, like under different.
Well, the TUC is the umbrella organisation that all trade unions sit under.
Okay. Oh, so then you won the award for all of them overall.
That's it.
That's a big accomplishment.
I know, and that's why I'm like, you know, still really shocked and proud. And you know, no matter what happens within a workplace environment, I know I can walk away with my head held high, knowing, you know, I've done where I was working before. I know I've left my mark there.
So how do you fit all this in with the wrestling and then being part of the labour and then being part of the trade union? This is a lot to squeeze in, plus having a son and a wife.
I'm actually a granddad.
Oh wow!
So you know,
how old is your oldest child?
My oldest child is 24 this year.
Wow, that's amazing.
24 in December.
He made you a granddad, or she made you?
She made me a granddad.
She, there you go.
Yeah. She made me a granddad.
Oh, that's amazing.
Because I got a 20-year-old son.
2000, you had her.
Yeah, 17-year-old kid, 17-year-old daughter, and a 4-year-old son in November.
Oh.
Let's not get into the idea of 2000 being an old age.
I know.
2000 is when I left school. I don't want to say live on air.
I can make you more depressed than that.
Just saying. But yeah, oh wow.
Some of us are left way before then.
2000 is when I entered school.
Well, how do I manage to fit it in? It doesn't. You know, something has to give. And so the wrestling gave way. But again, like I was saying before, as a manager, you don't actually retire or leave the industry. You just take time out as you need to.
So you can basically still come on shows.
I can step back in any time I want.
Oh, that's really nice.
Kind of
isn't
slot
it?
in
Do
wherever
you get
you've got
paid
time.
for that? Is
You
it
do.
paid well?
Some will pay you, some will not, because again, some promoters have a different mentality, you know, and
Oh,
that
right,
mentality
listen,
is very old school. Oh, you couldn't make it as a wrestler, so why would you want? You know, why do I pay you as a
Just
manager?
like, because I don't understand language unless people show up money. And I got that from Mace.
So you got the whole like those who can't do teach line.
But this is what I come out and say is I'm a professional as well, and at the end of the day, if you book me, I'm making sure you're getting double your
And also,
money
your
back.
travel does cost, or do you get free travel being with Labour?
Oh no, travel
Discount?
costs. You know no. When you're traveling,
Well, that does, that sucks.
Labour needs money as well.
I'm pretty sure Labour's not going to pay his costs for wrestling.
No, not for wrestling, that would be the promoters. That
I
you
do
get.
want to ask as well, in terms of the wrestling, was there ever a line that you just daren't cross?
No.
There was no line. You always felt like, even if you knew there was just like, I'm not going there, but it was just all those bars.
Hey, I talked about my friend and cousin Rishi. You know, he was supporting me every step of the way.
Are we talking about Rishi Sunak?
Read between the lines.
Right.
No, sorry guys, I was only joking about that. I'm only joking. That was my pro wrestling character.
It would be really interesting, because then you and Rishi were related, and then he's with Conservative and you're with Labour.
That's the tycoon character.
That would be.
That would be an amazing scoop that we somehow got there.
But no, that's the tycoon character. But my actual cousins were So Solid Crew.
Really?
So Shabs and Seth, shout out to you two.
Oh yeah.
So you
I
know,
think I may know them.
yeah, they're
Well,
my
I
cousins.
know some of the members from So.
D-Boy,
think
Daniel,
Ash-
he's my cousin as well. He's in Canada at the moment. He's a producer there. You know, so all these guys are my cousins. You know, so yeah. You know, I've got another cousin, Cam Naqui, who works with David Hay, amazing financial advisor. He deals with government.
I have met him in the boxing scene.
Yes.
You know, he's quite.
Wait, David Hay or the other one?
David Hay.
Oh, I thought you
But
meant-
I was a ring girl for Chris Eubank Jr. and I've met him.
Oh, nice.
So you met David Hay, though, one of the heavyweight champions of the world.
Oh, is he? Yeah, I've met
He
him a
was.
few times. He's quite a rude guy. Well, not to me, but I saw him I was doing a TV show thing, and he was there, and he was quite a lot to say about people. Not me, luckily.
I think boxers generally get it's like wrestlers, especially the faces, you know.
But Chris Eubank Jr.'s, Chris Eubank's son, the
Yeah,
other
Chris
one,
Eubank Jr.,
and
yeah.
his name was Seb.
Yeah, he
Sebastian,
passed
Seb
away.
Ali, who passed away. I was having a little chat with him. I met him. He was a lovely guy. He came across well to me. So he was a nice guy. So it was really sad when I heard that. We took a picture together. It was nice.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that. Look, with boxers, it's the same thing with the heroes within pro wrestling or anyone who plays a hero. Outside in their private lives, it's completely different compared to what they put out there. I mean, that's why I love playing the villain so much, because I could get away with so many things I wouldn't normally do in real life.
Did you ever get the hero roles that were jealous of the fact that you were the villain?
Yeah.
That did that?
Listen, the amount of look, one of the biggest things that certain wrestlers would believe is that, oh, you're a manager, you can't fight. But they don't know what you are really all about, and you are about that life. You know, because when you're from Stockwell, you don't show and brag about it. You don't need to.
You just
You know?
be about it.
You just do it.
Yeah.
And there have been times where, you know, they've caught the wrong side of me.
And that isn't part of the acting.
No,
There you
definitely
go.
not.
So going back to being part of Labour, what do you think of your leader, Keir Starmer?
The reality behind Keir Starmer is short and simple.
Funny name, isn't he? Oh,
That's
sorry,
Keir.
to Keir. I've never heard of it before, and he's also surname Starmer.
Circus Dharma.
It's it's not popular, I will admit that, but it is out there.
I've never met
But
any Kiers. Kieran's, but Kiers, no.
I know, tell me about it. But the reality behind it is that he's led Labour to the biggest victory that they've had in how many years?
I'm personally happy to sit back.
14.
But do you think that
Did you prefer Tony
he's
Blair?
led them to one, or that just Conservatives have got so bad?
Oh, they-
Because
they
I
must
think
have
it's the
got
lowest
bad.
voting we've had, even though they won. It's the lowest voting that we've had
About
probably
30
ever.
about 34% was the lowest win that they ever had.
Whether you're running at 5 miles per hour or 15 miles per hour, if you get past that finish line, you've still won.
I get a win's a win, but
Yeah.
I'm saying in terms of like, yeah,
If
that
I-
was
if-
past the post, but I think that was just due to how bad the other party was,
I have to
not
say
because
that
of how good he
It
is.
is one of those things like, if I win, but only these two voted for me, I don't know how much of a win that is.
but they're in power, so that's the win.
That's the win, and
And
that's
at
what
the
people
same
forget.
time, I think the Conservatives did run this country into the ground. I think it was a mess. It was an absolute mess.
I think there was too much
It's probably
corruption.
still a mess, and we still have to get where we have to get to. Just saying.
You are what was the key factor that won it. Your age group was the key factor. When you're looking at all the voters that didn't bother go out and vote, the majority of them were older. The youth were the ones that actually drove it.
Because they probably had enough of
Exactly.
madness.
All they knew was 14 years of things going downhill.
It was
and-
done over there. It was.
And all they knew was parents who are struggling, who are going out there working, sometimes 2 jobs, and still not making enough money.
Yeah, it's not right.
Yeah?
It's just not right.
I think the pandemic definitely opened a lot of eyes as to the corruption within that government, within
Yeah.
the Conservative government, because even now with all the stuff going on, they're still trying to block a lot of these inquiries. Khan being one of them, even though he's a Labour, but he's very evasive in terms of the is it TFL and
Yeah.
other things.
I'm not happy about the bridge that I'll have to
He
get
doesn't
across it.
tend to
Not
answer
happy.
TFL has
questions,
its
and
own
he's
rules.
very much a lawyer when he answers.
Yeah, no, I get that, and that's what you're going to get as well. But the reality is, when you look at the general election, it was the local councillors, the local reps on the ground. It was all those local people that went out there, knocked the doors, and said, "Look, we're changed as a party, and more importantly, if you get us in, we'll change things in the council level." Because where does everyone go to first? They don't go to the national government; they'll go to the local council. So you need people in the local council that you could actually like, know, trust, believe that they could deliver for you. And that is down to all these guys who are out there. And I've got to admit, shout out to all my friends from the Breaking Down Barriers program who did become Labour councillors. So it's Gary Samuel, Sandrine Wright, and Anta Zanta. Sorry about that, guys, if I mispronounced the name. But they went out there and campaigned. I went out there and campaigned. And I learned a lot more when I went onto the doorsteps. What made people think, the different age groups, what they were thinking, how they were acting. Some people would latch onto the conspiracy theorists and believe in ultra right-wing...
I don't do conspiracies, I do facts.
No, I'm not talking about you, though.
No,
Yeah,
we do that, Dan, don't worry.
They keep calling me a conspiracist.
Because
Some
you are
do.
one.
But there are those that live by that. Even when the facts are presented to them, they want to ignore the facts and fight with the illogical. Even when the evidence is overwhelmingly saying, look, we can help you. Let us do our part. They still want to fight against it. And they were coming out with some white supremacist crap as well, which really made me feel, all right, you know what, I've got to challenge this. And, you know, look, I'm going to talk from an Asian background now, and one of the biggest things that made me get inspired to not just be part of Labour, but trade unionists and all the rest of that is knowing my heritage within being an Asian person. Because our heritage from South Asian, we beat the British Empire. We won our freedom. And then being a Pakistani, we managed to get our freedom there from India. And not be ruled by, you know, so for the Muslim population there, they had the right to self-determination. Sure, it may not have gone the way it should have gone, and there's a lot of things that can be said about corruption and so on and so forth. But the reality is, we still won our freedom and our independence. I don't care how the Indians would like to see it, like the birth of a country, but the reality is, it's an independent country. Pakistan is independent. And from the Bengalis, they don't want their independence. You know, in the 70s, away from East Pakistan, you know, the East-West Pakistan thing just went its own way. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but these kind of things inspired me, especially when I was growing up, and seeing how, again, personal history, my mum was being abused by people that thought that she should speak English properly, this, that, the other.
Oh yeah, mine or not, we didn't speak English.
So when you get that kind of thing, you're seeing that as a young kid, you're seeing your older brother defend it as best as he can as a child. It really drives home into you that you've got a responsibility when you grow up to make sure that others don't ever go through that. I'm glad that within the trade union movement, we talk about equality, equal rights, freedom, making sure that everyone's protected. I'm so glad I'm a part of it. And when Labour, they still hold those same policies and values. It may not be necessarily showcased within Keir Starmer, but the reality is the Labour Party itself was founded by the trade union movement, and it's still the biggest contributor towards towards the Labour Party. So we have a big say in making sure that the values of Labour reflect what is not only the workforce but also the general population.
Do you prefer Tony Blair? Out of curiosity.
I was a Blairite. I was a Corbynist. I'm a Starmer guy. I am that guy. I wasn't as much a fan of Ed Miliband, but
okay.
So,
I wonder why that is.
what would you say?
bland.
What would you say was better, equity or equality?
You need equity, but you've got to start with equality first, and then you can build the foundation to equity.
Okay.
You know?
And out of Starmer and Corbyn, who would you have preferred to be a leader?
Now, from my point of view, my point of view, I voted for Corbyn.
Actually. I met Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, I met him as well.
He's young guy.
In Parliament. I actually met him there.
Oh really? I forgot his name now. What is his name?
Which one? Jeremy Corbyn?
No.
Jeremy Corbyn's son.
Oh,
I met
sorry.
his son.
No, I didn't
Didn't
meet
meet
his son.
him, but
No,
I met his son at an awards show.
Yeah, I met Jeremy Corbyn himself. Yeah.
So out of the two as a leader, which would you
Didn't mean
prefer
Boris
or
Johnson's
think is
dad.
the better as a leader?
Oh, he's a laugher. Yeah.
Okay, so right now, let's. I'm gonna stick with facts. Yeah. As much as I like Jeremy Corbyn, he's lost twice. And one of the times that he lost was the biggest landslide defeat Labour's ever suffered since the Second World War. Those are facts. You can't deny those facts. Great as a local politician. Now look at him as an independent. He's won really well, and he's not afraid to say what he needs to say. But what the party needed is Keir Starmer.
I
And
heard
that's-
Jeremy Corbyn's he's going out doing his own thing separate now.
Yeah,
he's
he's
independent.
He's an independent.
I
But that does say a lot.
from his
Even
son.
Labour doesn't want anything to do with him anymore.
Who?
With Corbyn, that he's independent.
Because of the so
Loss that he
when you
had.
take the extremes on anything,
Stormzy though,
yeah.
on it.
but the reality is Keir Starmer is what was needed, and that's why Keir Starmer's done so well. David Lammy bringing in Rachel Reeves, where Rachel Reeves was a former Bank of England employee. Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on one more
Sorry.
thing because we're getting closer to
Yeah,
the
I know.
end, and I just wanted to ask you. Remember, I was speaking with you about this. Like in terms of like us why is it so difficult for to park anywhere, and then you find car parks and they're ridiculously overpriced, and then it's like sometimes you can get anxiety going out, or it's cold, or as a woman like coming home, you work night shifts. I've been assaulted on public transport, I've been followed home, and I think it's not right that they make it so difficult to bring your car with you. It's okay if you're a man, get on the bus, you ain't getting followed home, you ain't getting assaulted on occasion. And for me, it's like, I can't drive my car, because if I drive my car, I've got to pay £30 for the park there, and then once the time's up, it's just ridiculous, and you've got to pay for the congestion charge, and it's too much.
Okay.
And
I don't
you
think it's hard, but I just don't feel. I feel like it's okay if you're a man that you can get home. You don't really have the thought of how am I going to get home? How am I going to make it from that train station to my house without being followed? How am I going to get there? And you can't always afford to pay for a cab. So having a car, like I have to pay like £8 to £10 in a cab every night. But then it's like, but I could put that petrol in my car and it would last for the 5 days. So it's kind of like just to get home. So it just don't make sense.
Your concerns are really well founded, and you're not the only person that has these concerns. And the reason why I say that is because within my trade union movement, which is USDOR, we deal with retail workers and a lot of the distribution workers as well. And there are many places where there isn't public transport as easy to get to. Croydon is one of those areas. Yeah.
I say Croydon does not have public transport.
Croydon does not also not have parking. I'd like to say it took me 2 hours to find a parking
What's
space.
it, parking?
Croydon's got tons of parking.
Yes,
They're
unless
just
you pay.
They're
very
miles away.
expensive.
Yeah, and I don't
there's
mind to
loads.
pay for
They're
a
just
car park.
expensive.
But I do feel like £7-8 on a car park is a bit
Yeah,
over.
it's
the
not that
top.
we don't have
I don't mind
parking.
normal car park prices. Like
I get
after
what you-
hours and they're only a couple of pounds. That's normal.
Most of them are private car
It's
parking, so they
ridiculous.
can charge what they want.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Now, when we're looking at ULEZ, I'm going to just address
Yeah.
one thing with ULEZ. What happened with ULEZ is that it was introduced by,
The Conservative.
congratulations, but under Boris Johnson when he was mayor, because they knew they could make more money out of it.
But wasn't that brought in originally by Labour?
No, congestion charge was brought in with Labour under Ken Livingstone.
No,
ULEZ was brought in,
yeah. Sorry.
and then expanded by Boris Johnson as well.
And
because
I just
what
feel
they done.
like it's not. Sorry, it's not really needed because it's not. It's like they talk about this pollution and we're going to tax you basically for the pollution, but it's like
And
it's
it's
just
actually
still gonna
based on
drive
the
your
lie,
car.
which Khan's own report.
There's too many traffic lights. We're waiting
that-
longer at the
that's the
lights.
thing.
What do you think about that?
You know?
With politicians that
I mean, Boris
openly
was
lie?
maybe in power, but it was Khan who introduced it and expanded on it.
We
One
wait
sec.
a long time
Okay.
at the lights. Like the lights I've seen, there's lights in my area. They let out one car, maybe two if you're lucky, and then they change and you sit there for 5 minutes. That is running out engines. That is polluting the air.
I mean,
Okay, so
That is
3
pollution.
things very quickly. I'm going
Yeah,
Sorry,
well,
yeah,
we're,
we don't have a lot.
we're
Go on.
complaining a lot here, which we should
No,
be.
I get that. And now, understand, I'm not a politician yet. But I'm going to
But when
address.
you get there, you're going to remember this.
Well, this is good practice.
Yeah,
So
you
let's
go.
start this first and foremost.
Oh, right.
Yours, where
Yeah.
we were looking at people where
Women getting home.
women getting home. Big priority, short and simple.
100%.
Big priority. And again, it needs to be going through the right routes, which is TFL. Talk to your local MP. Make sure that they put it onto the agenda. So get involved in your local area. If you're East London, you're definitely going to be Labour. In most parts of East London, it's Labour. Unless it's Barking and Dagenham areas, then like we don't
I'm not
class in
far.
East London.
I'm not far.
Yeah, but you're Ilford area, aren't you? Close to.
It's around that area.
Yeah, so I mean close to. So there's a very strong chance that you're Labour. So get involved in that political process. Let them know there's a big push to ensure that women's safety is paramount. And again, public transport is one of the quickest areas that they can look at. But they need you to explain that to them, not just here.
Okay,
but there
I
as
would
well.
like to explain it to them. I just don't know how to explain it. To
You've done a good job here.
There you go.
Yeah, you've done a real good job here, and that's all it takes. When it comes to, I think I addressed your ULEZ one, didn't I?
Yeah, yours was me.
Okay, and your point was not just Starmer and Corbyn in terms of their styles, but there was another point which you had asked, which was...
I've forgotten it now, but... Yeah,
that's why I should have written it down. That's what
It's
most
got no
politicians do.
bias.
They sit down and write it
Right.
Oh
down.
no, the point was about Khan in the fact that, or not just Khan, but in general, because Khan does it, in particular about ULEZ, but politicians that openly lie have been caught in their lies. You think they should be dismissed?
Right, so you got to look at the accountability part of the political system, isn't it? If they openly lie within a closed workspace, workplace environment, then there is a constitution or terms and conditions of employment there that allows dismissal to take place.
So
The
why
same
hasn't
needs to apply to politicians because they're employed by us.
it? Yeah, they're civil
We're-
servants.
Yeah, they're not.
They're
in
not,
terms of
they're not civil
They're
servants.
public
they're-
servants,
yeah.
sorry.
Public servants.
Yeah.
Better. Yeah, that's the
They
right way
still
of putting it.
serve us. They pay by our tax money.
Yeah, and that's why you need to have a strong accountability system in place. You've got that within the media. Unfortunately, some parts of the media can be a bit fractured,
Yeah.
but you've got that within the media. You've got that with opposition politicians, and you've got that within, like a compliance element within politics as well, to make sure that if there is things like that that's openly happening and is proved, they can be dismissed or resign.
But do
But-
you think it is happening?
But when you're looking at the mayoral side of things, this is the difference. What are the actual things for accountability within the mayoral side of it? And if it's only just down to you vote them out if you don't like them, then
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to. So it's
So maybe
looking
there
at
needs to be a change in how a mayor's role is presented and what he can and cannot get away
and the
with,
powers
and
as
an
well.
oversight for him.
Of course,
Because
the oversight's always going to be city council. Is going to be
because
city
we
hall.
all know he's openly lied about TFL,
So again, what happens there? We need to have legal challenges be put forward
which
as
there
well.
are going in.
And you-
There's one currently.
Which also takes
in
its time
process.
because it has to go through the process.
Yeah, and there's setbacks.
But there's due diligence, and what I'm trying to say is, no one's above the law, and everyone is subject to scrutiny, especially if
I
we.
don't know about that.
Don't get into that. Just carry
I'm
on.
not getting
just
into a
saying,
debate. I'm just saying I don't.
Everyone's subject to scrutiny, and the reality is, you've said it yourself. This guy was shown to have been lying
Or non-truthful.
or non-truth or whatever it is. But my point of view is that he's presenting his side of the argument based upon the evidence that's been put forward to him. So he has to be the face of the evidence as well.
But that's what I'm saying. He wasn't, was he? Because his own report came out and kind of based on what he said, and then his report came out, it disproved what he was saying.
Was that for the ULEZ
Yeah,
extension?
for the ULEZ
So-
extension, yeah.
Has that been of a benefit to everyone though?
No, it's destroyed a lot of people. And to be honest, these the road things, where they've
The
got
flower
roads you
pots.
can't go down and
Flower
whatever.
pots.
Most of them are just about generating money because, like for instance, Croydon, there's a lot of roads where you can literally go down either side of this road in any direction,
Yeah.
and there'll be like a 2-foot strip that you can't go past. So you can't cross the 2-foot strip from either direction, but either side of it, you can travel the whole length of the road. And I'm like, what relevance does that 2-foot strip have? that
I'm
you
going to
can't
counter that argument very quickly because of a real life argument, a real life event that took place, which was on Valley Road in Streatham. Because of what happened on Streatham High Road, where again it's the trade union movement having access to those politicians to make those decisions, who are saying that the buses are taking over an hour. In some places, an hour and a half, because of what they've done to Valley Road. They've created 3 sections of basically flower pots where you couldn't go down
Yeah,
Valley Road.
I've seen a lot of that, and that's really irritating.
Yeah?
I had a
The traffic
friend
hasn't
that
gone
had to
anywhere.
go all the way back, go all the way around just to
It
get on her
actually
own
extends
road.
traffic. It makes
That's
traffic
what
Yeah,
happened.
but you need to
longer.
Just give me
Yeah,
a
yeah,
couple
let
of
him
seconds,
finish.
because the traffic didn't go anywhere. It just went onto the same road, which was Streatham High Road, causing immense delays. Through public pressure, and more importantly, the trade union movement being able to access those kinds of people, they got rid of it.
Yeah.
They got rid of the Valley Road flower plots, and now traffic's free flowing. So look, it does happen, and this is where public needs to come together. This is where you need to get out there and showcase. Look, these are the problems. Let's find solutions to sort them out.
Well, thank you for that. And I
Sorry,
just want to say, because we have only got less than 3 minutes left, I do have to close the show.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask you if we can find you on social media. If anyone's got any questions, where could we find you?
Right.
Yes, please promote. How do we find you?
Right. TikTok, Instagram is at the tycoon2.com. Sorry, at the tycoon2. I've got my own website, which I'm not using at the moment for obvious reasons. Facebook, Hadi Nakri, you can find me there, and on Twitter as well, at the tycoon2. And again, while I've got you guys, quick shout out to everyone out there. If I haven't mentioned you by name, I still love you guys.
There you go. And if you want to follow me, please follow me on Instagram at Italianoting, spelled ITALIANOTING on Instagram and all platforms. And also follow the PEAP show _ on Instagram, and also Love the Beat Radio. Vincent, where can we find you?
And hold on, before you guys go, because if you guys don't understand how to do that, you all need to go back to school. So says the tycoon. And if you guys recognize that catchphrase, that is my catchphrase. So sorry, take it away, my friend.
That's all good. So you can catch me all platforms as usual. DJ Vincent Kelly, nice and easy.
Chris, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Chris_Smith, and it's Chrisalicious, my baking TikTok as well. Or you can find me on YouTube at CS React, where I've literally just done a reaction to the Wallace and Gromit trailer that literally came out today. So please have to do that, guys. And also, guys, just in case you want to remember, we do have a giveaway. We do have 2 tickets to the National Social Media Awards that's happening on the 23rd of October. Please, guys, if you want to enter and win chances to have tickets, WhatsApp your name, email address, and the word NSMA to 07930 820 578. I'll say that again. That's 07930 820 578.
Right, I just want to say we've got Undiscovered Talent UK show on Friday in Croydon, so if you want to come down to that, where is it, Vincent?
It's at the... Oh,
Quick.
I've forgotten.
Alright, well, it's in Croydon.
Something
Go
House.
to
It's
the...
in South Croydon at the Something
Okay,
House.
we'll go to the Instagram page for Undiscovered Talent UK. We've got 30 seconds. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on
It's
the
been
show.
interesting.
We'll probably have to have you back on if you would like to come back.
Definitely.
We'd love to have you back.
It's the corner house, by the way.
Because we have so much to talk about all the time. And when it gets political, our Vinny here loves it. So he
I
needs
had
a
a load of
politics show.
questions I had to ask about.
Please,
Guys,
please stop.
Please tune into our Halloween show on the 30th. Next week we've got some guests, and we will see you next week. Over and out. Good night.
Good night.
The one question I didn't get round to asking you was, what do you think of Keir Starmer's policy in
I was thinking
terms
we ain't got
of
time
the
for